Let's take you to our courts now, where a group of senior police officers will appear in the Pretoria Specialised Commercial Crimes Court this morning. They were arrested for an alleged fraudulent procurement deal valued at 54 million rand. An investigation found some of these services were never even rendered. eNCA Slindelo Masikane is watching this case for us and joins us yet again. Slindelo, when we spoke a bit earlier, there was a very big high-profile name that was mentioned, but nevertheless, perhaps we won't repeat it now, just to follow procedure and allow for them to plead. At the very least, have some of those suspects made their way to court?
From what we understand is that the suspects are still making their way to the courthouse. We're here at the Specialised Commercial Crimes Court, where we are expecting 6 people charged with fraud, corruption, to be making their way to make their first appearance in court. I'm actually in possession of the indictment. It's about 64 pages rather, and the accused are named Godfrey Maui, that's accused number 1, Ibenanthan Kistia, that's accused number 2, Manda Obert Nemutanzera, as well as Avenger Naidu, Johannes Khumutso Patlane, Brainwave Projects, as well as Makosana Agnes Makela. Now, of course, there's a lot of media here at the courthouse, and at this point, we're just awaiting the arrival of the accused to face to these charges. But I'm joined by former IPID boss, that is Mr. Robert McBride, who's actually here at the courthouse. Thank you so much for your time this morning. Maybe just tell me as to the significance of these arrests and possibly any involvement that you've had in these investigations.
Well, the investigations started under my watch at IPID. Of course, with the team, I had a very good team with me, most of who are now assisting the investigating directorate. And I'd like to first say, well, congratulate them on a job well done. I've looked at the indictment. It's watertight as it was 3 years ago. But most importantly is from amongst the people who are here, they conducted a reign of terror against IPID investigators. One was killed, some were arrested. Other people who assisted, like O'Sullivan here next to me, were also arrested as part of counter investigations against us. Accused number 2 in this case, Ibenanthan Kistia, tried on 2 occasions to blacken my name and smear me with the assistance of some state security agency officials, and that was exposed also. And Inspector General of Intelligence then, Dr. Dintwe, testified at Zondo Commission about it. So for us, it's a message not only for the criminal justice system, but for the entire country, that eventually the law will catch up with you and you'll have to face the consequences. Of course, I must add, it's due processes. They're not yet guilty and they must go through it. But for us, the purpose of investigation is to bring the case to court. And we think a good job has been done by the investigating team.
Maybe then can you touch on and expand on the effect this has had? You've mentioned how O'Sullivan has gone through some issues in terms of investigations, in terms of, being, what's the word I'm looking for? They've
kidnapped.
As O'Sullivan says, he's been kidnapped. There's just been a lot of issues around the investigations and people trying to stop them. Yeah. The personal toll on your families, on yourselves, how has that been like?
It's been immense. It's affected us completely and in everything. And in addition to that, they tried to impact on future employment. In fact, one of the ministers used the allegations of Ibenanthan Kistia to prevent my contract from being extended in IPID, and others helped. And Ibenanthan Kistia was paid for his evidence, his information by state security, even though state security knew he was already under investigation by IPID. And we presented to Parliament, to SCOPA, and as far as Patlane is concerned, in fact, even the Portfolio Committee on Police summoned us to come and answer to Patlane why we investigated him under Francois Beekman. It's the worst thing that's ever happened in the country. And it happened in front of everybody. And that suddenly the guys doing the good work became the bad guys. So even just the mere appearance, and I mean, it's on one occasion I was blamed by Patlane that I'm conducting a witch hunt But I think this is the third or fourth time he's been arrested, so he's a serial arrestee. So it's got nothing to do with me. It's hard work and evidence that sticks.
Yeah. I had asked Mr. O'Sullivan earlier, what are the chances of us actually cleaning up the police services? We know that we still have a number of dirty cops that are still operating.
Well, it involves quite a lot of aspects to it and sort of dimensions, including structural, the way resources are kept, all at national level, whereas the stations are crying, stations need to be resourced. Local government, no crime takes place at national level, yet you have a disproportionate amount of resources with personnel and funding at national level. And then we hear them crying about there's not enough staff, whereas the army marches at its slow soldier pace, and the slowest soldier here is the stations. Stations should be properly resourced with forensic, with intelligence, with more members to walk the beat. So it's quite a big task, but it can be done. It has to be done for all our sakes. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Mr. McBride.
Thank you, ma'am.
All right, Mfundo, I think that's where we can leave it for now. As you can see, Mr. McBride and Mr. O'Sullivan here at the Specialized Commercial Crimes Court, and that is because we are literally awaiting any moment now the arrival of the 6 accused who will be making their first appearance in court. We understand that Mr. O'Sullivan, Mr. McBride have also been working quite closely with these investigations in terms of actually nabbing the accused. And like I said to you, that we can confirm that, of course, we have the former police commissioner accused number 5, according to the indictment, who will be forming part of those 6 accused to be making their way to courts. They will be making their way through this entrance, and at this point it's just a matter of time and seeing exactly when they will arrive.
All right, Slindelo, we'll leave it there for now. That's reporter Slindelo Masikane for us. More news